So joining us now, House Speaker Mike Johnson of Louisiana. A lot to unpack there. Good to see you again this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for the fact-based questions to my colleague. That was the art of distraction you just saw there. They're trying their best to distract the American people from the simple fact that they've chosen a partisan fight so that they can prove to their Marxist rising base in the Democrat Party that they're willing to fight Trump and Republicans. There is no objective truth to everything he said there. The Republicans have already said we were going to have thoughtful conversations, deliberation, and debate about continuing the COVID-era Obamacare subsidies because they don't expire until December 31st. They're trying to pretend like that's a September issue. It never was. The president himself offered to Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in the Oval Office when I and Leader Thune were sitting next to him that he would have that thoughtful debate. That is for tomorrow, as soon as we get the government open so that everybody can come in and do that. There's hundreds of ideas on how to do it. It was not appropriate or possible for that to be resolved in a continuing resolution.
What about his issue, though, that open enrollment starts in November? People are already getting notices about what they may pay. I mean, that's something that's got to be resolved before
Yes, and they're
31st.
eating up the clock in the month of October. They shut the government down October 1st. We had always been counting on using these 4 weeks in October to finish up those discussions. The great irony is it is they themselves that are doing it. And Shannon, we cannot lose the simple fact that their counter proposal to fund the government was $1.5 trillion in new spending, as you noted. They wanted to give money back for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and all sorts of things. And they wanted to claw back the elimination of fraud, waste, and abuse that we took out of Medicaid to make it work better, and the $50 billion that Republicans put into the law to prop up rural hospitals. What they're saying today makes no sense.
Well, he does talk about the fact, and we know that there have been rural hospitals that have closed. That's happened here in the Virginia area and beyond. So what about that and his contention that a lot of people will be kicked off Medicaid? And yes, people talk about waste, fraud, and abuse, but there's real concern by some analyses that there will be other people that may qualify in some way that are going to risk, losing kind of health care coverage that the leader is talking about there.
So much to be said there. The rural hospitals that are in trouble right now are not because of Republican policies. This is the legacy of what has happened under Obamacare. And you just heard the leader of the Democrats in the House acknowledge that Obamacare is unaffordable. When they passed it into law in 2010, they promised us it was going to make health care more affordable. They put it in the name of the law. It did exactly the opposite. Premiums have risen exponentially since 2010, and they're not affordable. It was never designed to be affordable. Republicans are the party that are fixing health care. We just demonstrated that in the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. We put in reforms to Medicaid, as I mentioned, that cut out fraud, waste, and abuse. It got ineligible recipients off of the program, and it's brought down the cost and made the resources spread more broadly to the people who actually need it. U.S. citizens who are the disabled, the elderly, and young pregnant women, those kinds of folks who are the people who are intended for that program to help. We're shoring up the program. We're fixing health care. Obamacare is what broke it.
So let's get back to those subsidies for Obamacare. He mentioned Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican. There are other Republicans who are raising alarm. Here's what she said in part on X. I'm absolutely disgusted that health insurance premiums will double if the tax credits expire this year. Not a single Republican in leadership talked to us about this or has given us a plan to help Americans deal with their health insurance premiums, she says, again, doubling. So what is the guidance from you, the leader of this party?
Yeah, I had a thoughtful conversation with my friend Marjorie Taylor Greene on the phone the other night, a couple nights ago, to inform her that there are many Republicans in Congress that have been working around the clock on this. They're on the committees of jurisdiction that deal with this. Marjorie doesn't serve on those committees, so I offered to have her come into the room and be a part of that discussion if indeed she wants to do that. There has been a lot of work done on this. We have hundreds of ideas literally on the table to fix health care, to make it more affordable for the American people, to make access more available, and to increase the quality of care. There's a lot that can be done, but you have to build consensus in a large, deliberative public body like this. And again, what they're saying right now, the reason they're talking about health care is because they're trying to create a distraction. We have voted 8 times to pay the troops, pay TSA agents, Border Patrol agents, everybody serving in the federal government, and to make sure these services are provided for veterans and the elderly disabled who need them so much. 8 times now, Democrats in Congress have voted to close the government. We're on day 10. It's real pain for real people, and they seem not to care.
So you mentioned the troops. Let's talk about that, because the president has now said he's ordering Secretary Hegseth to find Pentagon money to pay this week so that none of our active duty folks will miss. And I think all Americans agree that that is a priority. So Democrats say on Friday they tried to offer up a measure on the House floor that would have kept active duty troops paid during any kind of shutdown. They do have at least one Republican signature on it, making it bipartisan. Politico reports this, though: the presiding Republican, Representative Mike Bost of Illinois, gavelled a brief pro forma session to a close before Representative Sarah McElrath, she is the Democrat trying to do this from Maryland, could make a procedural move to try to pass the legislation by unanimous consent. Politico says Congressman Bost was working on your guidance, so why not allow a standalone measure for troops?
Because it's unnecessary, because we already voted to pay the troops on September 19th. We have a chart that we used at our press conference showing every time the Republicans have voted to pay the troops and the Democrats every time voted no. We did it in the House September 19th, over 3 weeks ago, sent it to the Senate, and now 7 different times the Democrats in the Senate, all but 3, have voted not to pay the troops. So the ball is in the Senate's court. The House has done its job, and that's what Chairman Bost was referring to there. That Democrat who tried to bring that resolution on the floor voted against paying the troops. Go look at the record. Every single one of them, and only one Democrat in the House voted to pay the troops. And that vote happened 3 weeks ago.
So I want to get back to the optics of this, because we heard or we saw what Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said about this is getting better for them every day. I want to play a little bit of what he said about why you guys are going to get blamed for this. Here's what he said.
Republicans have the White House. They control the House and the Senate. So when people are laid off, when people are not paid, when people are not getting back pay, they know it's the Republicans trying to do it, even though they're using it to try and bully us.
They think the polling is on their side. The American people are going to hold you responsible.
Chuck Schumer is incapable of telling the truth right now. I mean, he's been in Congress for 44 years, Shannon. I mean, almost half a century. He knows this is basic civics. Every 8th grade civics student can point out the fallacy in what he just said. It requires 60 votes in the Senate to get this through. We only have 53 Republicans. We've got to have a handful of Democrats in the Senate who apply common sense and agree to reopen the government so that we can continue all these discussions. As you pointed out to Hakeem Jeffries, this is a clean continuing resolution. What that means for folks back home is it's exactly the same levels of spending. By the way, it's Biden-era policies and spending, which we loathe. But we're trying to get through the appropriations process to change that and fix it for the country, and they ran out of time because the end of the fiscal year, September 30th, we just need 7 more weeks to finish it. And right now they're eating up the clock. They're doing this for political cover. Chuck Schumer, when he voted for the exact same measure back in March, took a lot of heat from the left of his party, and he doesn't want to sustain that any longer. So he's doing this and inflicting pain for his own selfish reasons.
Well, we have not brokered an end to the shutdown here on Fox News Sunday this morning.
I'm a peacemaker. I wish we could.
We are glad to hear from both sides. We appreciate your time, and we'll watch and wait as the American people look for a resolution. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.